So anyway, is 4 hours 46 minutes is ridiculously long. So can we do some sum up? Everybody can have their
We do
last
closing statements.
Yeah.
Closing statements, like
Right,
we always do. But you can say about anything. You don't have to repeat the. You can say that. I wish you guys would understand pizza with pineapple is the real pizza. Okay, that's my closing statement. Yep.
That was your closing statement. Okay. Well, my closing statement is I'm excited for dinner right now, man. I'm hungry. And when William was in this chat before, he was talking about maybe making this more of a regular kind of thing. I'm not gonna lie, I would very much enjoy that. Maybe I'm a little bit too ambitious. I think I could find myself a niche. I do this mostly as a hobby right now, right? I mean, again, I don't know much. I ask these questions. I want to learn more. I think having some sort of podcast, have these questions answered, and having some sort of podcast where young people can come and actually not only participate but see that dialogue is not dead, right? And we don't see that much anymore. And I would love for us to keep on doing this. I said this last time. I'm going to say it again. Please keep doing these. We need people to be able to talk like this. The haters in the chat are going to hate because they don't want to come. They want to show other faces, and that's hilarious. But nonetheless, please keep doing this. I think this war is a nightmare, and I wish it hadn't started because I remember the first week it ever started. My heart was in my gut for weeks after that because I
couldn't believe it even happened. I was really surprised.
My buddy texted me at midnight when the Russian my time midnight, when he got reports that there were Russian helicopters flying over to Kiev, and I was like, "Nuh-uh." So I hop on the internet and I'm like,
my friend was telling me they're about to invade, and I was like, "Nah, that can't be right."
No, my buddy, all he texted me, I remember all he texted me was, "They invaded." I'm like, "Huh?" But yeah, let's hope this ends. Let's hope some sort of peace deal can be made. And Toby, hopefully, the theory that you're running on is the most ideal one because hopefully the least suffering for the most amount of people is what we need to shoot for.
Yeah. So for M Liter, we were actually doing our closing statements in case you didn't hear that part. Yeah. So I just want to add on to what Alan has said now, because of the suggestion from William is eventually DPA is going to go bigger. That's my plan. The aim for DPA is to be a think tank, but also at the same time to be a media outlet. Eventually, it's not going to be me. I'm not supposed to be the focus. I just accidentally become the focus. So maybe one day there will be 2 open mics per week instead of 1. Then maybe it'll be 2 different timings. One cater more towards the Americans, and one cater more towards the Asians. Because the timing that I'm doing the open mic, the Asian market, the Asian community is not going to be able to join because it's in the middle of the night, and my sleeping hours is more European and American, which is why I'm always awake at this time. So who knows? Maybe one day, maybe Alan will be the one hosting the open mic for the American side. Who knows? No, because I think Alan has been a great moderator as well. So, but we shall see how this move forward because the management of the things, organizational things, is a bit complicated. We shall see how we move forward. We always have the regulars.
Just email me. I know you have my email, right? Just shoot me an email. I'll be glad to talk about it.
Yeah, and what I love is that we have a lot of regulars. So people over time they'll start to get to know all these different personalities. So it helps to build a community. So Greg.
Oh. My closing statement would be something. I think this is the most important takeaway that is not being properly communicated whatsoever because of immense propaganda. But Ukrainian is not an ethnicity. You can be Russian and ethnic, or you can be ethnic Russian and Ukrainian simultaneously. They're not mutually exclusive things. A Ukrainian, just all it means is constituents that live under the multi-ethnic, basically a province that was founded by, the borders were made by Lenin. It's not its own ethnicity, it's culture, food, music, history, language. It's just derivative of Russian culture. I'm just really just like incensed to constantly hear this notion that Ukrainian is like independent, everything. Nope, it's very derivative. I don't even acknowledge it as its own. They just want to, most of the people just want to be part of the EU, and they're using this as an excuse to be part of the EU, or they're just straight up like neo-Nazi Banderites. That's as far as Ukrainian history and nationality goes. It's like Bandera, who was a literal Hitler collaborator, and it's just so despicable that such like Azov literally has a Wolfsangel, which is a battalion in the Nazi regiment. No one even gives a shit to even do the basic surface level research, like to dispel all these very, very destructive and divisive ideas and notions. Yeah, that's just the main thing that needs to be communicated, and I'm glad that DPA is here on the vanguard and the front line against this media war. And this really is an information war, and for sure. And if you guys ever have any more podcasts, I would love to get my 2 cents in, and just make the world a better place, because that's basically the goal at the end of the day. And just stop, because it's definitely possible. We should be having peace right now. There's no good excuse have a situation like this. This easily could have been avoided if the right information was in place. And yeah, in order to prevent something like this to ever happen again, because statistically, if it already happened once, it can happen again, even on a greater magnitude. So, and this might even affect our lives, like a lot, or even our kids' lives and so forth. Yeah, so that's what I want to say.
Thank you, Greg. I think maybe if you guys have any ideas, what kind of other shows you can do, especially with the regulars, which have very good wisdom or insights. We can do something, because there's another channel called DPA Talk. I haven't do much with it, so maybe you can do something, like very, like there's no more people jumping in and out. They can very focused. Then we can do something. But let me know. I'm still one person, so it's a bit too much for me to handle everything. So random person.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to congratulate you on your information which you are getting. You are doing the one hell of a job, and thank you for broadcasting this podcast, so all the opinions might be heard. And thanks people from chat for listening to us talking. I would like to say that, we may say Ukraine this, Ukraine that, Russia this, NATO this, but in the end, we are all people. And, it's sometimes just stupid politics and geopolitics which divide us. I think nobody wants war. I think that we are all human. And for me especially, I believe that every Ukrainian is my brother, and I will continue thinking so, believing so. And I have nothing personal with NATO or Americans, because I think it's just politics. People don't want war. I mean, if all people were to vote right now, if in America or in Russia, in Ukraine, if send weapons, etc., we will all vote for peace. And stay strong and stay informed.
M Little or M Liu. I don't know how to pronounce that actually.
Yeah, you can just call it MLO, whatever. For things, sure. I dropped out what Alan said, but maybe for sake of brevity, I should just maybe ask you later another time. Because what Greg said and what random person said, I think is kind of both of them are very important in the sense that it's important that we dispel through the propaganda and the myth. And Ukraine and Russians aren't really enemies any more than we of the NATO and West are enemies of Russia. And we can there's a lot of propaganda, a lot of layers of if I can use the word, mindfuckery going about. For example, this much of the Ukrainian farmland and so forth is owned by large American corporations, and they wanted to kind of push through a proposal here in the Norwegian government recently to kind of set down tariffs for the Ukraine so they could have open up the market. And what that would in fact would mean is they sell it as trying to help and aid Ukraine. But what it really means is us circumventing our own trade tariffs to allow, for example, US corporations to come in. Now, we may not necessarily have too much of a problem with that if we ourselves are able to kind of consolidate, because the fact of the matter is, when they're saying like, oh yeah, we're helping Ukraine, it's actually like, yeah, maybe in a sense we're giving them weapons, but we are not actually proposing a way to give in peace, and we're actually just ruining their country and also ourselves with all these price hikes and the energy crisis for no good reason really. Um, and so, like, when you see that there's like several aspects, the economic factor cannot be ignored, right? That's where the incentive, much of the incentives follow the money, right? And we see that being very much of those few people who really have actually some hand in it and does something to actually gain. They have if you start to actually look at your own leaders, they can often be considered as traitors, right? Because they don't really have your own interests in mind either. I would say the same for Norway, right? And people would say that, like, oh, Norway is such a good country. Yeah, relatively speaking. But, it's whether you're American or you're Norwegian or Singaporean or whatever, there's going to be a lot of illusions. You will have to fight in your own country, or Russian for that matter, of course. And they, whenever you see these authorities, these abstract constructs trying to convince us that, oh yeah, we're going to go and kill our fellow human here for some heroic reason, like, there's probably some bullshit. Like, you should definitely activate a few bullshit detectors. And yeah, again, like others have said, and it just easily becomes a circle jerk here where everyone is agreeing and, like, I don't know, complimenting each other. But, like, I think we also have a fairly valid basis for it because we, for rather a lot of reasons, I'm not going to hog the time here. But this is definitely, like, very stimulating to have, like, very refreshing to have, like, a somewhat varied view. And yeah, this is I think. Wyatt has started something pretty good, and I'd really like to see this move on further. That being said, I'm not going to come with any predictions. I think I've already alluded to that a lot of times. Like, so, yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much. So I still missing random persons, Greg and M's contact. It can be Twitter, Discord, anything that you're comfortable. Something that I can talk to you in case we ever need to contact you. Yeah, this for backup purpose. I think this is just some due diligence. And Toby came up so late. You're muted.
You're
Okay, yeah, it's like one of the most interesting. I've studied a lot of war at university, and the interesting thing about the world today is possibly this kind of podcast. It's very unusual for people from many different countries to be in contact and to be discussing geopolitical issues. The thing that defines war is ignorance and control of narratives, and pushing people towards these controlled narratives. So I don't know. It's interesting. I see this war in the West of information, where the same corporations that are profiting from war are trying to control the narrative, and it's just not working. The internet is its own phenomenon. It allows this kind of thing. You don't need a lot of money to broadcast. You don't need a lot of money to get together and have panel discussions. Joe Rogan is a good example. Nobody predicted that he would explode and become huge with his long format talks. So even though there's probably about 30 people watching this, like, this format and the internet itself is going to be on the forefront of the conflict between the control of the narrative and the discussion of truth, which has always been, that's always been part of war, a big part of war. I think this channel probably hugely frustrates the people at NATO. I can see them gnashing their teeth, and possibly Russia too. Like, the Russians want their own narrative as well, and it's possible for someone here to say something crazy and upset that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think it's interesting.
Thank you. DPA is still not big enough. I think we need to be at least 10 times bigger.
But this is how it starts.
Then I start to upload to RuTube. Then all hell will break loose. Maybe I'll get banned and censored on RuTube.
The shadow ban.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, if there's anything I can do to help out, then I'll try to help out. And like I said, you can't beat having people from different places in the world come in and talk about whatever we're talking about, tactics or what's going on or the geopolitical or the economic. And plus, it's good to have people that are like in Europe who could say, hey, yeah, it fucking sucks. My energy bill went up 50%. Besides always just going by what you hear on the media, I can actually hear people who live in these areas tell me what's going on based on their experience. And then I can listen to the news or read articles, and then I can look at my own stuff and decide based on what I'm hearing what the most likely truth is. And you can't beat it. And people don't like it because we all have our biases and we all sit here and talk. But, we're just discussing what we see and what we think might happen, or asking questions, why is this happening? Or, people who may have military background like, this doesn't make any sense. And then somebody else will be like, well, I read this and this is why it doesn't make any sense, because they don't care. This is what they want to do. I mean, it's just good to have so many points of information. And the fact that anyone has a problem with it just proves that you're over the target and you're doing the right thing, because nothing wrong is going to come out from people talking and hearing information and deciding for themselves. There's nothing wrong that's going to happen, and you shouldn't be afraid of that. And that's what this encourages. So anything I can do to help out, I would.
You should absolutely encourage more people, Wyatt. Like, people need to know this StreamYard, this is free. We didn't download some sort of app like Zoom to talk on. We're talking over the internet right now. This is just a website. We didn't pay any money. There's no exchange of literally anything. We all just spend. I mean, for us, where we come here,
but it's not much. It's not much because I got the patrons to support.
So but we come here because we want to talk about it. We have these passions we want to express, and that's I think if anything, you got to push that as much as you can. Like, it's free.
The payment is the experience.
I mean, think about all the news streaming services that people pay big money for, and they don't give a shit about what you think. They'll never ask for your comment. They'll never ask for your opinion, but they'll take $20 a month from you.
All I want is like maybe 1 or 2 US the artillery shell price. I just how we heard like one shell is $7,000. I was like, I just need 2. I just need 2 a month. I can do a lot. I'm not even earning like 1 artillery shells per month from DPA, not yet. So if you can have 2, I think we can do a lot. Yeah. So that's all I want. Oops, I think we accidentally cut into.
I'm good, y'all. Y'all have a good week, and what's left of it, or a good week.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
God bless you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.